What is going on, guys? We are back playing some more Create Above and Beyond, and today we are going to be automating the production of sealed mechanisms. So last episode we left off having finally finished this monstrosity over here to produce our precision mechanisms, which let us complete chapter 2, and it's been running flawlessly. I've upgraded this to an oak drawer over here just to make mass storage a little bit easier. And if we take a look inside here, we can see we've got 136, so it hasn't been running too long, and I actually did not remember that I was going to need to put more screwdrivers in here, so at a certain point this broke and then it was just not running, so I should probably add a hopper to this deployer with some extra screwdrivers in it until we complete the quest that gives us the unlimited screwdriver, but that costs a couple of gold, so it's going to be a little bit before we get there. But either way, this is running flawlessly. Chapter 2 is done, and I figured that today we should maybe take a little bit of a step back from just rushing through at least half a chapter every single episode. Now, I will admit that I definitely started messing around with all the stuff in chapter 3, and it should be really easy for us to automate this whole thing. And so we'll be doing that very soon. I got a bit carried away, but I figured, you know what? I don't want to be almost done with chapter 3 on the 5th episode of the series, because I do want this series to last at least a little bit. So we're not going to do random stuff, I promise you that. We are, though, going to do the bonus quests in chapter 1, and then at some point we'll do the bonus quests in chapter 2, because these will actually make our lives a lot easier. So if you don't know, when we're looking in the overview tab, once you've completed something like, in this case, the first chapter of this, or chapter 3, or this is chapter 2. So I guess once you've completed the andesite machinery chapter, which is basically chapter 1, or the brass one, which is chapter 2, you unlock these additional side quests here, and those are going to unlock additional quests that branch off the final part of the chapter that you just worked on. So in this case, it's the production of sealed mechanisms in chapter 1, which is then used to make the copper machine, which is used for things like the piping systems and all that good stuff. So it would be really useful, considering the amount of spouts and pipes and mechanical pumps and all that stuff that's been going into these builds, and what we'll be using in the future builds, to have this automated, and then we can say we actually fully completed this pack. So we're going to be setting it up over here. You guys saw me kind of designing this little area in here, which is nothing special. It's just connecting the rest of the base to this area that we're going to be working in up here. And it's not going to be a crazy huge build, but it's going to be efficient, it's going to be compact, and it's going to look really cool. And in the end, we will end up with a barrel, and yes, barrel, there's a reason for that, not a drawer, that's filled with sealed mechanisms. And we're going to have a switch that will turn it off once we have a certain amount, so that we can store some of the rubber, and then we can use that for any of the belts that we might need to make in the future, which means I can say goodbye to this ungodly thing over here, this basin, where I constantly am going and getting flowers and putting them in there and using water and then making rubber. I will no longer have to do that, and I am so excited. So to start out today's build, it's really simple. We're just going to grow a tree. Now, unfortunately, there's a few things we got to do to that tree, and we need it to be one off the ground where we're working, so we're just going to slap some dirt down here. Unfortunately, if we were able to remove this dirt block once the tree was grown, we could make this setup a little bit more efficient, but we actually can't. So I'll go over that in a second, but we need to grab out a sapling, toss it down right here, and we need to grow a tree. Now, I'm really hoping this doesn't turn into a huge tree, but at the same time, I'm too lazy to put a block down up there, so let's see. What do we get here? Are we going to get a tree? Is this seriously not going to grow? Okay, nice. We got a regular tree. So it's pretty much as basic a tree as you can get. And then we are going to put down 4 arboreal extractors, 1 on each side of this tree. And these are going to collect resin from the tree passively. So you can use fertilizer to boost the production, but you do not have to. So we'll see over time, as these have at least this lit up portion of their front face, that's saying that there is in fact a tree that they are registering, and you can see they got 25 resin. Now, that's really not that much considering the resin I think we need. Let's check actually, because I don't know the exact amount that we need of it, but so we need 250 millibuckets to make a single rubber. So obviously that means we're going to have each one of these fire off about 2.5 times to be able to get the exact amount we need. So it's definitely not super fast, but at the same time, we don't need these mechanisms the same amount that we need the other ones. It'll be nice to have them, but we don't need a crazy stockpile. So Now that we have these, the big thing is talking about what constitutes a tree, which sounds really stupid, I know, but we need to get rid of as many of these leaves and burnable blocks as we can, because we're going to be using lava to cook down the rubber into the cured rubber, I think it's called, and because we're going to bulk blast it, and that makes our lives a lot easier, but that means that we're going to have lava, like right over here in a minute, and that means that these leaves will catch on fire if they're here. So we need to shave off as many leaves as we can, and to do that, we need to know what the arboreal extractor constitutes as a tree, because it needs, I believe it's 3 oak logs at a minimum, and then the big one is it needs naturally formed leaves. Now that sounds really weird, but it means you cannot silk touch leaves and then put them back down. There are a couple different blocks in modded Minecraft that could let you move the leaves without unregistering them as actual legitimate tree leaves. But for this purpose, I think pretty much our only option is to literally just grow the tree and then just don't break those leaves. So we can get rid of as many as we want, except you need on this side of the arboreal extractor, for each one, you need at least 3 leaves on this side of the tree or the 2 adjacent sides. So in this case, this face or the left or right. If there's a leaf back here, it's not going to register. So that means that we need to have pretty much 1 leaf left on each of these faces, and these will all still call it a tree. So it's time to give this a little bit of a haircut here, and I'm going to try to keep the ones that are very high up at the top. So I'm going to shave this off all the corners because these don't really matter to us, and then we'll kind of work our way through this just to make sure, because if I mess this up, then we are growing another tree. And took pretty much half my bone meal to even grow this one. I wasn't super lucky. There was nothing around it too, which I don't get. But if we do this, now you can see they're still registering it as a tree. And I like to grab out my dirt just because these can sometimes not update. So if you cause a block update, then they'll register if there's no longer a tree. So now we should be able to, again, shave off these right here. And we should be able to shave these off too. And technically we should be able to shave off the one higher, but that should be fine. That should be far enough away from the lava that I don't believe they should be able to catch on fire. And these are still registering it as a tree. Now this looks really dumb. I get that, but that's just the life that we're gonna have to live with for the time being, because I do not want this to burn down and I do want to bulk blast stuff. So now that we have that, it is time to start pumping our resin from this setup. So we're just going to use some fluid pipes, bring it around like this, and we'll hook up this one over here, and then this side is going to be where they all get pumped. So we'll put down a pump over here. Not going to worry about the rotational power right now. Those are going to go into a basin, and then we're going to put down a mechanical press, because if we look at the usage for resin, the whole recipe we're going to go through is we get the resin, obviously from the arboreal extractor, which is an infinite supply of it, which is great. Then we turn that into rubber. Then this rubber, we are going to bulk blast down into cured rubber. Then this, we are going to use, which one is it? It's going to be the shaped crafting. And is it this one? Am I blind? Okay, it's right here. So this one, 3 mechanical crafters along with a kinetic mechanism, and we'll make the sealed mechanism. So really not that many steps to go with, but that means that for a while, I'm just going to manually bring the kinetic mechanisms from there over here. And eventually I need to have the weighted ejector launching them from there to here. And I think it'll look really cool. We'll have stuff bouncing there and then bouncing here, and it'll just be all really, really good. Now we're going to put down a depot right here, because this is where we're going to have the rubber come out. We don't need to put anything on this basin because, as we've talked about in prior episodes, this little chute right here off of it is only going to be the final output. And it doesn't matter if there's an item on here when this makes another one, because it'll just dump it after it's complete. So that's totally fine. There's nothing we need to worry about there. And then right here, we are going to put down a drawer. Dropping my stockpile switch there. We're going to put down a drawer, and then we are going to put down an andesite funnel. Again, well, actually, yeah, we can do an andesite funnel here. So I was thinking we're going to need a filter, but an easy thing that we can do is with this oak drawer here. I know this is really, really, popular for people to do when they don't have brass yet, but I'm still going to do it now because we're going to use a drawer either way. But it's to grab out a key and grab out our cured rubber. So cured rubber is going to go in here. I can put that in there. I can grab out the key, and then we can lock this. So now, even if we were to grab out our cured rubber, and I can just grab it all out from inside like this, it should, oh, I guess we can't pull it out when it's locked. Well, either way, if we take all the cured rubber out, it's still going to only let cured rubber in here. So it kind of is going to act like a filter for this so that only the cured rubber will be picked up. Now, we're also going to take another drawer, and it's going to go right over here. And this one is where we're just going to dump our kinetic mechanisms. And then each one of these is going to output onto a depot. So this is going to be for when we end up putting it in the crafters to keep it relatively compact, and it'll be pretty visually appealing because we're going to use, again, everyone's favorite automation tool, the mechanical arm. So it's going to be really fun to do because I always just love how it looks with that putting stuff into crafters. But the idea here is it's going to dump these out onto here so that they can then be picked up and placed into the crafters. It'll look really cool, and we can fill that up right there. But now we need to worry about bulk blasting this stuff down. So we're going to need to grab out, I should have some glass on me here. I'm probably going to need a little bit more, but we're going to put glass right here. And then I'm trying to think through the rest of this setup because we are going to have an encased fan right up. Let's get these out so we can put some dirt down. We're going to have an encased fan right up here, and we are going to have to rotate this because it wants to attach onto this nice mechanical press right here. But we're going to put this down right here, and it's going to be blowing down onto this depot right here. So we're going to need some glass on this side right here also. And then I believe for the most part, we're going to have stuff around the rest of these sides. But for now, until we start setting that up, we're just going to have to put some glass down here. And I think we'll have something right here on this side. But again, I'm just going to use glass because it'll get the job done. And right now, I really want to verify that this isn't going to light anything on fire. So I am really bad with the mechanics of lava. I have to look this up every time in the fire starting area. And then I feel like I've read things where people say if you cover up the 3x3 area directly above it with solid blocks, it can't start a fire. But I don't know. So I try not to work with lava when I can avoid it, but we have fire spread on. And so that's why we're worried about that tree up there. But the lava is going to go right here. It's going to be contained by the andesite funnel right there. And that is going to eventually blow down and bulk blast the rubber right here on the setup. So that portion of it is pretty much good. So to hook up some of this rotational power on camera, really easy way to do it is just going to be hooking up cogwheels to this right here. Then we're going to do a cogwheel here. We're going to grab out some shafts, and those can be run right over here. And then I'm just going to put down some water wheels right over here. We're going to need 2 of them for this setup. So I'm thinking that I'm just going to end up with them pretty much right here and right here. So I'm going to hook up the rest of the rotational power here, get the water wheels going, and I guess sleep because it's nighttime now. We've burned through an entire day already, and then we will hop back. Okay, so I actually just ended up setting up the water wheels back here. They're both running. We've got the bubble elevator in the back here, so they're running a little bit faster than normal. We got 640 stress capacity on those, which is enough to run all of this and will be with the rest of the stuff we put in here too. And this actually started making some of the rubber in here, but obviously it's holding off until this one is done. The current one in there can be output here, and then it will go again, but everything's working. This resin is being pulled out, put in here, and it's good to go. So we need to hook up the rest of the rotational power to this, which will be one of the things we do, but I first want to run over and grab the kinetic mechanisms that are going to be going in here because we're going to need some of those. So over here, I turned this into a drawer too, and it's actually pretty much almost full. So we need to grab out, well, we should probably grab out more than 1 stack, I think. Yeah, that should be enough. Yeah, 3 will be enough for us. Okay, so that'll give us some room to work with over there, and we can just dump them in there. So now they'll be on this depot here, and we can hook up the rest of the rotational power. So we're gonna have to grab out some more stuff from the backpack. So actually, no, do we already have it out in here? Oh yeah, I got my gearboxes out in here. Okay, so we're gonna be putting down the mechanical crafters and then bringing the rotational power over. So the mechanical crafters, we're gonna do 1, 2, 3, because it needs to be 3 in a row. Rubber, rubber, and our mechanism right in the middle. Now, we need to decide which direction we want these to go in. So we're gonna have them go to the right and dump out the bottom of this one. and that's going to be where our barrel goes. So this is going to go right down here. And this is where the final mechanism will end up. They'll dump in this barrel. And the reason we have this barrel here is because, like I said, this glass block is going to get broken, and we are going to put down a stockpile switch because I only want maybe like 3 stacks of these, maybe a little bit less made at any given time. The rest of the rubber I want to stay stored as cured rubber so that I can make belts, right? That's another benefit of this is, again, not having to use this over here to make belts. And I use a fair bit of belts, not as many as Polart. I would recommend you guys go check out his newest episode where he automated the stuff from our first chapter that we did over there. I did high efficiency and being compact. He did a huge factory that probably used well over 100 belts going all over. It's probably well over 200 belts. But that was one of the reasons I was like, you know, after watching this, I kind of feel like I should save some of this rubber to use for belts because I'm going to end up using a lot of them as we move forward, just not as many as Polart. So definitely go check out his series. By the way, he does an awesome job, and I think it's a very healthy balance where, like, I know a lot of you like watching my videos for super compact monstrosities like this that are high efficiency for the amount of space used. His, though, is able to produce an entire storage drawer worth of mechanisms in like an hour because he has it super huge. It took him forever to make, and it looks really nice. It's a very large scale, visually pleasing build where there's, yes, inefficiencies, but that's the purpose of it. So, just a little bit of a rambly plug for him. He did an awesome job on that. Absolutely love Polart. So definitely give that a look. But we now need to put in our stuff to get the items in these mechanical crafters. So I'm not going to worry about this stockpile switch for the time being, but when we start bringing rotational power elsewhere, that's going to be relevant. So it's here right now. And I guess I went off on a tangent a bit before I could explain this, but for some reason it doesn't work, or at least it didn't work when I tested it with drawers. So we're using a barrel because I want this to work. So it's unfortunate, but you know what? We can totally do this right here. I'll show you guys. We're going to make a makeshift drawer, and we're going to put an item frame down. We're going to put an item frame down on our barrel so so that we can see what's inside it, because I was sad that it wasn't going to look as cool because we don't have the rubber for it, or like the rubber here. We have the visual on the front. We're going to have that when there's actually some of these mechanisms left. I guess I could probably just put these in there and lock it. So if we were to do that, that should save the image on it. So if we just, oh no, they're too fast. Okay, well, just give me a whole stack of these and then we'll lock it. Okay, so, but it wouldn't have the visual on the front, and these look really nice, but because the stockpile switch couldn't work, we would have to get all the way up to an entire drawer of it, and I don't want 32 stacks of sealed mechanisms. So, but now we have the mechanical crafters up here, and we need to input the correct stuff into these, and it's unfortunate because we can't do a single input for the rubber because these are not adjacent, so we can't link them by getting rid of the back connections. But what we can do is hop our way up here, and we can put down brass funnels here, here, and here. And you guys know what's coming because you know I love to do this. I am going to be grabbing some of the rubber, filter that. Yes, we can dump that back in here. We got a mechanism, filter that. And now is the time of the mechanical arms. So we're going to pull from these two and deposit into the funnels so that we can filter what goes into the mechanical crafters. And I'm going to put it right here. Now, it could technically be more efficient if it went right here, but I'm putting it right here because I think it'll look cooler and it won't be clipping into so many blocks when it's running. So I do know in my builds there are some inefficiencies, but come on, guys, it can't look super dumb. I mean, that's just unacceptable. So now we need to get rotational power to all the stuff in here so it can start running, and we need to get up here. Okay, so we are going to bring this up with another cogwheel right here. I'm going to like split these into half vertical gearboxes and half horizontal gearboxes, or regular gearboxes, I guess, as they're supposed to be called. And then we are going to have a vertical one right here. Please be the correct direction. Is it the correct direction? It is not. Okay, well, quick fix for that right here. Just the horizontal one will look better, a regular one. And then we just got to flip this over here because it reversed that, and now it's pulling. Okay, these are the only two things where the direction of rotation matters. Doesn't matter for this, Doesn't matter for the crafters, doesn't matter for this. So it's only the fan right here, and then just adjusting this, which doesn't matter which direction it's going in. You just have to manually flip it and you're fine. But now it's working. You can see it is able to produce more of these because it's able to cook them down, then output, and it's going to only press them down once the rubber that's in here is out. So it'll hold one rubber in here, one rubber there, and it's not going to press another one until the rubber inside has been brought out. So you can see every time it gets pulled in, it makes another. So there we go. Now we got the power up here. This is where the redstone component comes in to shut this off when we have enough of them in here. So we are going to put down a clutch right here, and then we're going to put down some links. So we have links. We're going to have one that's going to go, should be good to just go right here and then right there, make this receiving. And I'm just going to set this to the frequency of rubber. So frequency 1 of rubber, frequency 1 of rubber. And we're going to scroll this all the way down. So we'll just hold shift and scroll this down to like 10%. Scroll this down to 5% so that it is going to kick on and stop the rotational power when this is 10% full, which should be, I think 5% is like, you know what, let's go to 5%, and this will go to 2. So I think 5% full is like 2.5 stacks or 1.5 stacks for this. That is more than enough. We're not using it that frequently, so I'm not going to come over here and need 5 stacks of these within an hour. Or I hope I don't. So we're going to leave it like that, and that is going to stop the rotational power from going through, and that will stop the crafters from working and the arm from pulling stuff from here so that this rubber can then build up so that we can use it. So now we're just going to be bringing down the rotational power. So we're going to have a vertical gearbox here, then vertical gearbox here. And I think these both need to be vertical gearboxes if I'm recalling correctly, because we need to have a cogwheel that goes right here. That's going to run these mechanical crafters. And because these are all adjacent, they all run. Decent amount of stress being added to the system from those, but whatever. And then finally, we need to get a cogwheel down here, which means cogwheel here, which means that. And boom, it is time to watch it function. So let's see. There we go. Nice. Put it in there. Put it in there. Nice, nice. Yes. Okay, okay. And now the rubber. Slowly but surely. Definitely not the fastest thing in the world, but if I gear this up, I would need more water wheels. And I'm enjoying the fact that we're only using 2 right now. So it's decently compact. We're losing daylight again. Okay, come on. I need at least one of these so that I can put it in for the frame. So our first one is going to be the forever immortalized in the frame. But here we go. Combining. And our sealed mechanism. Nice. So we can grab this out. There we go. And technically I should be completing these quests, so we can progress with this, which means whoops, not pinning that. In the Enigmatica series, and I guess we'll sleep right now, but in the Enigmatica series, I went for like an entire 2 episodes where I had something on the right side of my screen, and I didn't realize that it's because I pinned a quest that was fully complete, so it was just this bar, vertical bar on my screen. That I couldn't get rid of. So I'm just kind of waiting then, I guess, right on this, because I made the mistake of not grabbing out the rubber. I'm waiting on this to fill up with another 150 millibuckets of resin so that we can complete this. The rest of these we can do, but I'm waiting on this, I guess, to fill up. It's taking its sweet time. We're going to need this to function where these all fire off at least one more time, and then 2 of them need to fire off another time. Wow. Well, I guess I should have grabbed out the rubber, but I don't have any other rubber ready to go. So I am probably going to hop off camera, wait until this fills up so I can grab out the rubber, and then we will complete all the quests and see where that leaves us. Okay, so I have the rubber. Didn't take too long to get it from in here, thankfully. But as we can see, everything's still functioning flawlessly. It's so nice. I put the frame in with our first ever automatically produced sealed mechanism. We've got more in here already. It's running nicely, which is great. But we need to complete these quests. So rubber right here, done. Then we need this one, done for the cured rubber. Great. And then finally, we need to grab out a sealed mechanism. So we'll just take one out for now. And that one is done. And then finally, we need to make a copper machine, which means we need to let this run. So we've got 5 in there. We need 8 of them. So we need to let this thing run for a quick second right here. And we should have more than enough of the rubber Yep, so we got that and that, so it just needs to take some time to run. Obviously, it's not, the fastest thing in the world, but that's fine. Again, we're not going to be using these that much, so we needed to go 2 more times. And then I made some copper casing for this, but it's looking like I'm going to have to move this area up a little bit, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of work on the ground right here, and then I'm going to add in some barrels and leaves around here and stuff. But yeah, I'm liking how this is turning out. I want to add something in down here that's kind of like a separation between this, and then we can get rid of this right here. This is going to feel so good. So good. Oh, nice. Okay, sweet. So I can just dump that back in there and that back in there to use for a future build. So we got, a little bit more area over here. I'm hoping eventually I can get rid of, technically we can get rid of this one too. I'm not going to get rid of this just yet because I'll deal with that later. But this is where we used to manually assemble all of our mechanisms over here. I have so many electron tubes in there from manual assembly too. But we have 7 of these. It'll finish up in a second here. But it's going to be nice to kind of clean that up. And then everything in the base at that point will pretty much be automated to some degree. What are we looking at over here for these? This has been running for a bit. Almost got another stack of these. Nice. So I've been having so much fun with this pack. And there we go. So we have these. We can come over and craft this up right here. And there we go. So we got our copper machine. Ooh. Okay, that was really loud. I mean, it sounds really cool, but there we go. So now we've completed this one fully. Yes, we have. Nice. So it's green. Fully done. Fully completed. Check it off the list. So I thought there might be a second one that came after this, but it's done. Nice. So now I'm not saying I'm going to do this next episode. I think next episode we're going to do the beginning half of this right here. So I'm hoping to kind of get up to maybe the this point right here. Maybe I'll just decide if you guys want like an hour-long episode. You know what? No, I'm not going to do that. I was going to say if you guys want an hour-long episode, I'll do all of chapter 3 in one episode, but I don't hate myself enough to do that. And I'm hoping you guys don't hate me too enough to do that because that would be horrible. But we'll get about halfway there. We'll get to like right here maybe or something. And we'll stop next episode. And then the chapter bonus for this one, which is to make the zinc machines, which will be really nice to have, it is definitely not that hard to do. So I already know how we're going to complete this. It's really easy. We're going to do it all in the overworld, actually, instead of going into the nether. Because if you guys know, I do not like pulling lava from the nether. And there's ways to get around that. So we're going to do it. So we'll probably do this in an episode or two just to kind of break up the monotony, not monotony, but to break up speeding through all the chapters. So let me know if you guys enjoy that. I'm not really going to do building like visually pleasing builds where we just make a house or something in this series, but we also don't need to just blatantly rush through all the chapters and ignore the side quests. We can do the side quests too, because in the end, I want this entire book green, I guess. I want everything in this book green when we finish this. So we'll have done every quest available. But I think that's going to be it for today, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed today's episode and a little bit more relaxed and casual video instead of the, got to do this, got to do this, got to do this. Okay, we're sweating. We got to take a drink and all that good stuff. So I don't even think there was enough time to get bloopers, but if you did enjoy the episode, be sure to subscribe so you never miss out on a future one as they come out every Monday and Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also be sure to drop a like because a lot of time and effort goes into this series specifically to plan out all these builds, get all the stuff for the episode, because it's definitely a very taxing mod pack when it comes to making these fun and, busy videos. So I always appreciate the likes from you guys and the nice comments. But that's it for today, and I will talk to you guys later. Okay, these things are infuriatingly slow. My goodness, okay. Well, maybe we end up needing another tree, but at this point, it is no longer watching paint dry. It is waiting for the arboreal extractor to get resin, because that is clearly the slowest thing in the entire universe.